And there you have it. The chairman, Jim Jordan, has adjourned. Let's bring back our panel, Jonathan Turley, Jason Chaffetz, and Andy McCarthy. Thanks to all of you for standing by through this hearing. I mean, it started about 10 o'clock this morning. Just a brief break in between, but it has concluded. Andy, your top line thoughts as it has wrapped.
Well, I just have to say that last bit by Hur, I thought was the weakest testimony he provided all day. I thought he was a very strong witness. But the idea that, like, Biden could know that he was illegally retaining classified information and then forget about it, and that is somehow exculpatory when at the time that he knew he was doing it, and he was guilty of doing it. So that made very little sense to me.
All right, so not legally, Jason, but politically, what's the upshot of all of this? Because it's not like Robert Hur is going to turn around and say, oh, you know what, I am going to file charges. There's nothing legislatively that's bound to come out of this. So what is politically the upshot?
I think the strongest point for the Republicans that was illuminated by Jim Jordan and others was the motivation that Joe Biden may have had, that he had this lucrative $8 million deal and that he wanted to get and impress this ghostwriter. And to, at one point, according to the audio, which we haven't heard but was talked about, is this idea that, hey, you know, I've got this classified information, be careful. I think that goes to motive, it goes to intent, it goes to the thought process that was going through Joe Biden's head. And I thought when Jim Jordan did that line of questioning, you know, a little bit later into the hearing, that was perhaps the most compelling piece that was illuminated in a way that hadn't had a light shed on it and given the emphasis that it needed.
Jonathan, what struck you in this last half hour of the hearing?
Well, I think that overall, the weight of the evidence in favor of charging was substantial. I think it explains why he had to emphasize the president's lack of memory and how he might appeal to a jury, because the evidence was not supportive of the president. I think that what was particularly damning in Hur's testimony is his constant reference to facts where the president acknowledged he knew he had classified evidence, that he did the same conduct going back 40 years. And it does leave you with this question of why he then gets this level of deference. But I think it leaves the other obvious question, and that is, why is the Department of Justice prosecuting Trump on the classification questions as opposed to the obstruction questions? That's what the Democrats kept on coming back to, but Trump obstructed. Well, yeah, I mean, you can prosecute on obstruction, but how you can reconcile these two cases, in one being prosecuted and the other not, I'm afraid is beyond me. The evidence seems very strong in terms of Joe Biden willfully retaining and, quite frankly, knowing that he did so.
Well, there's a lot to chew on between now and November, no question about that. Jonathan, Andy, and Jason, thanks so much for being with us this afternoon.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Appreciate it.
Hey, Sean Hannity here. Hey, click here to subscribe to Fox News YouTube page and catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You will not get it anywhere else.